I'm a bit biased. Let me read you his bio. Barry Mitchell is one of Africa's leading international and sales business trainers. For over a decade, he has taught thousands of entrepreneurs around the world to explode their income. I love the language. With nearly 30 years of sales and entrepreneurship experience, the Sales and Entrepreneurship Program are designed to facilitate fast, sustainable, real results. How many of you are ready to learn how to explode your income? Who wants to explode their income? Who does not want to, who wants to implode their income? Yeah, we've come to the wrong place. This is explode, not implode. Otherwise your partner's going to say, you should explode more into me. Sorry, did that just come out? I thought it was in my head. How many of you want to learn how to make a lot more money? Say yes or yes. Say that's what I'm after. That's what I'm after. I'm after money. How many of you want to learn how to close a lot more deals? Say yeah, me. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you that Barry Mitchell is a personal friend. He's been doing this for over 30 years. He's been mentored by Blair Singer. How many of you have heard of Blair Singer? Blair Singer is a legend in the sales industry, and that is his personal mentor. For the last 2 years, he has been traveling around with Robert Kiyosaki on stages. You'll see him with Robert again this afternoon on stages, because he is absolutely awesome in sales. Are we going to give him a Lucas Mangope welcome? Or are you going to give him a Barry? Like, I'm going to give him a Michael Jackson. Like, I want you to like say, Barry, just beat it, man. Just beat it. Are you going to give me some love? Are you going to make some noise? Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up. And please be help me welcome a personal friend of mine, a man I got deep love and respect for. The one and only, give me some music, the magnificent, the incredible Barry Mitchell! Ladies and gentlemen, Australians, make noise for Barry! Make him feel you! Say, Barry, we love you! Barry, you're awesome! Give that to us, Barry! Give us something to end that thing! So good morning! You're doing better than that. Good morning! So, welcome back! So how many of you love Robert's energy? Pretty awesome. How many of you wouldn't mind bottling that up every morning when you get up to work? So, yeah, look, how many of you could be somewhere else right now? Yeah, let's be honest, every single one of us in this room could be somewhere else. But I just want to acknowledge you and say well done for choosing to be here. Because I know this, there were some people that were here yesterday that have chosen to do something else, and that's okay. Each and every one of you chose to be back here. And I just know that showing up, I watched the lady come up and win the cell phone, showing up on time often creates unexpected results. And I've learned that in business and in sales, is when you just rock up and you just put yourself in the right place, you start doing the right things. Does that make sense? So I just want you to give yourselves a big hand. Well done. So, as always, it's a huge honor to speak on a Success Resources stage. I've known Richard and Veronica Tan for over a decade. Incredible people who have amazing hearts just to teach and educate people like you, people like me, to make a difference in the world. So can you join me in giving Success Resources, their team, and Richard and Veronica Tan a big hand, please? Like, I think that actually deserves a standing ovation, actually. I was in Mexico City a couple of weeks ago, and Richard was speaking, and I think about what Richard said, they do over 500 events around the world every year. And just work out the numbers, how many people they're changing, how many people change people. And if you heard Robert yesterday, one of his sayings is teaching people to teach people. And so one of the things I'm going to encourage you is when you leave this place, go and teach someone else. Take the knowledge that you've got yourself, but teach somebody else. And I truly believe in this country and this continent of ours, if we actually just go do one thing different with somebody else, we'll, over a period of time, make a huge change. Does that make sense? So
So as Robert said, my name is Barry Mitchell. I have a business called Uncovering Greatness. I've been in sales for nearly 30 years. How many of you are in sales in here, by the way? How many of you are not in sales in here? Okay, good. So those of you that are not in sales, let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a relationship? Have you ever dealt with kids? Have you ever been for a job interview? Okay, so are you not in sales? Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about sales, but there's a distinction between a sales rep and being in sales. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm in sales, I'm not a sales rep. Well, just to get here this morning, you had to sell yourself for the reason why you're coming. Everything in life is sales. Does that make sense? So I've spent nearly 30 years in sales. How did I get into sales? Pretty simply, I failed university, failed the School of Mines, got kicked out of home, was told to go find a job and became a sales rep. How many of you can connect with what I've just said? Still to this day, in all the seminars and events that I've spoken in, I've asked that question, how many of you actually decided to make sales a sales career? And I think I've only ever had 2 people put up their hand, which is quite interesting. Very few. Let me ask that. How many of you actually left school and went, I want to be a salesman? A couple of people, but you see how few people? How many of you realize that sales is still not on the careers advice chart at school? How many of you wish it was when you look back? So yeah, 30 years in sales. The last just over a decade, I've had a business teaching, training, predominantly sales, but really have a passion for entrepreneurs. And as Robert said, I work very closely with a guy called Blair Singer. Blair is one of Robert's Rich Dad advisors, in fact, the longest standing Rich Dad advisor. How many of you know who Blair Singer is? How many of you have heard of a concept called Little Voice or Little Voice Mastery? So Blair teaches Little Voice Mastery. If you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, has anyone read Rich Dad Poor Dad in here? If you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert talks about a guy that he went to sell to his Velcro wallets in Hawaii in a surf shop. That guy was Blair Singer. And Blair and Robert have been partners since then. I've been mentored by and I'm business partners with Blair today. And through that, I've been very blessed, especially in the last 2 years, to work directly with Robert, be mentored by him. How many of you think that he's a pretty tough guy? Yeah. How many of you think that maybe in your life you need some people that are a little bit tougher around you to kick the butt? So, people saying, wow, it's been an amazing journey, but man, he's tough. And honestly, if you want to change where you're at, toughen the environment around you. Find people that are tougher than you. Find people that are prepared to stand up to your BS and push you in a direction that they know that you can go. And you might not like it, but move in that direction. Does that make sense? So I know you're in for a real treat later on when Robert comes back. So so I'm a Zimbabwean. I'm a Zimbabwean by birth. I've lived in South Africa for 20 years. I've spent the last decade, and especially the sort of last 5 years, traveling around the world, teaching and training. But my passion is really Africa. I truly believe that we live on the most abundant continent on the planet. Yeah, we live on the most abundant continent on the planet, but sadly with the most scarce mindset. And if each one of us can actually just shift that mindset to abundance, I have this vision, we could be 10 times bigger than Dubai, 100 times bigger than Dubai. People laugh at me, but if you look at the resource base that we have, if you look at the energy of the people we have, if we could take the energy of the people we have in South Africa, and instead of burning things, we could turn it into making change. Could you imagine what we could do with that level of energy? Does that make sense? So it's a little bit of an introduction for me, but today, I'm going to talk to you about, probably for me, the single most important thing in business, and that's your ability to be able to sell. And yesterday I briefly alluded to it, but it's this. Why do you need to sell? Because sales equals? Sales equals income. Sales equals? Sales equals income. How many of you could do with making more money? How many of you are not making enough money at the moment? How many of you don't have enough income coming into your business? How many of you might be good at generating income, but you have a team that's not good at generating income? So the reality is this, if you don't have enough money, it's pretty simple, you can't sell. Or you're not selling enough, or you're not as good as you think you are at sales. Because the formula is really, really simple. The better you sell, the better you. The better you sell, the better you earn. The better you sell, the better you earn, the better you live. So you've got to master the art of sales. Robert said it yesterday. Everything that you're going to learn over these 2 days, if you can't sell, it doesn't matter. You can fill a pipeline with people, but if you can't communicate and connect with them, if you can't uncover their problem, all that doesn't matter. Most people are not learning how to sell. And I'm going to make this statement: most people can't sell. You know, in nearly 30 years of sales, I've worked with thousands of sales people. I've built some fairly big sales teams myself. I've worked with some big sales teams. And what I've seen with many sales reps, in fact, I would even say most sales reps can't sell. Most sales reps can speak to people, they can tell people why they need to buy a product, but in the true art of sales, most people can't sell. But it's quite interesting, the richest people in the world have one thing in common. Every single one of them can sell. Every single one of them can sell. Every single one of them knows how to get what I call B2B. What does B2B stand for? Belly to belly. Person to person, up front, connect on an emotional basis, because it's pretty simple. The bigger the deal you want to do, the closer the person to the person you have to get. How many of you ever heard of someone that's closed a multi-million rand or dollar deal on the internet? Not made millions of dollars on the internet, but closed a huge deal. How many of you realize the bigger the deal, the closer to the person you have to get? Donald Trump, can he sell? Oh, hell yes. He can sell. Doesn't matter what you think of the guy, he can sell. The bigger the deal he's going to make, when he's making the deal with North Korea, does he do it on WhatsApp? Does he do it on email? He does it what? B2, he gets person to person. The bigger the game you want to play, the closer you have to get to people. Because it's pretty simple. Sales equals? Turn to the person next to you, say sales equals income. Now say it like you mean it. Sales equals income. Now ask the person next to you, how many of you want to make a lot more income? How many of you want to make a lot more income? Now say me too. Okay, good. So, how many of you remember this from yesterday? Yes, what's it called? Financial statement, and it's 6 critical words. Income and assets and income, expenses, assets, liabilities, and the 2 most important words. What's the word? Cash and flow. How many of you realize cash always flows? For many of you, it's flowing in the wrong direction. But it always flows. The number one reason businesses fail in this world, small to medium-sized businesses, is a lack of cash flow. They struggle with cash flow. Not a lack of ideas, not a lack of passion, not a lack of good products, not a lack of excitement, but a lack of cash flow. Because very often cash is flowing in the wrong direction. Not enough coming in, too much going. I speak to people, they say, I want to start a business, and I go, what's the problem? And their response very often is, I don't have any money. My response, you can't sell. Because, look, let me ask you this. How many of you in this room own your own business? Okay, good. Those of you that own your own business, how many of you have enough products that could be sold for you? How many of you have products that you need being sold? Okay, good. So if I was to come to you and say, what's your product? Flowers. If I was to come to you and say, could I sell flowers for you? Would you be interested? I'll go out, I'll sell flowers. Would you be prepared to pay me a commission? Okay, good. Anyone else? What's your product? Anyone got a product? Air conditioning. So if I came to you and I said, if I go out, I drive around and I sell air conditioners for you, will you pay me a commission? You see, what do you see? There's not a shortage of products. When I sell it, will you supply it and then pay me once I've paid you?
Yes.
So how much money do I need to start that business?
Nothing.
If I don't have a vehicle, well, I get a bicycle. Look, most people are not prepared to do what it takes in order to get it done. Okay? What's your average invoice for, what's your average product sale for an aircon? Just a month. What do you sell an aircon? What's your average product sell for?
700,000.
700,000 rand. Will you pay me 5% commission?
We can negotiate.
Would you pay me 5% commission? 5% commission. So how much commission can I make? 35,000. How many do you think you can go try and find 2 or 3 sales for a 700,000 rand aircon? But in order to be able to do it, you have to be able to sell. You have to be able to sell. That's the game. The reason most people can't sell, there's 2 things you never learned at school. Robert talked about the one yesterday, and that's being financially what? Financially literate, yes? How many of you were taught money at school? Like 3 people. It's one thing we're not taught at school is how to make money, how to use money, and how to make money. You want to know the other thing you're not taught at school? Sales. How many of you were taught sales at school? You went to a sales course and someone taught you how to sell. 2 key fundamentals for being an entrepreneur. You have to be able to sell and you have to know how to make money and make money. The 2 things that are not taught at school. You see, what a lot of people think is, so how many of you want to be financially free, by the way? Yeah, how many of you love listening to Peng Joon and Sandy talking about how to become financially free? Okay. So a lot of people want to play on this side down here. They want to build assets so they can create income, so they create cash flow. So over a period of time, your asset income covers your expenses, you become financially free. But how many of you realize that if you can't fill this piece here, it's very hard to fill this piece? You want to get into property, you need some what? To start off with, you need some spare income, don't you? You need some spare income. And if you don't have the spare income, you better be able to sell to somebody else, or why they're going to part with their spare income to work with you. You getting this? But it's filling this piece. The number 1 skill you've got to learn is how to be financially literate. The second most important thing you have to learn is how to fill the income bar. And many people think, if I get a job, I'll make money. Then they think, a job doesn't make money, so I'm going to start a business, and when I start a business, that business is going to make money. Jobs and businesses do not make money. They're vehicles for making money. Too many people are sitting around saying, I have a business, when's the money coming? It's just a number. But what makes money when you have a job or a business? What? Only one thing. Sales. You learn how to sell, you generate income. You generate enough income, you manage your business properly, you start building assets. The first step to wealth creation is you have to be able to sell. Does that make sense? Yeah. You have to be able to sell to yourself. Robin's talked a bit about that. And you have to be able to sell to others. If you cannot sell, you cannot. If you cannot sell, you cannot. You cannot have income, which means you cannot earn. If you cannot earn, you can't.
Have assets.
If you cannot earn, you cannot. If you cannot earn, you cannot live. The reason most people, or many people, struggle with life and their life sucks is because they can't earn. People say to me, money is not important.
Rubbish.
Money is important. You want to do anything great in life, it takes money. It's what you do with the money. But the way you generate money is you have to be able to sell. You have to be able to connect with other people to find what they want and find a solution to give to them. And if you can do that, you'll make money. If you can repeat that over and over and over again, you'll make a lot of money. Does that make sense? So I watch people, and it's not their fault. I just watch people sitting on the side of the street. They're waiting to be given a job. They're waiting for. It's not only people sitting on the side of the street. I watch business owners, entrepreneurs that I work with and that I coach are sitting in the office waiting for people to come to them. And I say, what are you doing? They say, well, we've got a funnel, we sent out lots of emails, we've got a Facebook post. I go, good, and how's it working? No. Thousands of people are going to come. I go, okay, great. Well, while you're waiting for the thousands of people you're going to come, why don't you get your butt out of the chair and go knock on some doors? You get that?
Yeah.
You see, sales, business, and entrepreneurship is an action sport. It's a what?
Action sport.
It's an action sport. It takes action. And the action that you've got to take is you've got to get in front of people. Look, how many small to medium business owners right here in the room right now could do with 20 new customers? 20, how many you could do with 20 new customers? If you have 20 new customers in the next 3 months, you'll transform your business. Okay, good. How many of you have met 20 people in the room since you've been here? See, for most of you, come in, come out, sit down, take notes, leave, go and eat, because that's more important than connecting with people, getting belly to belly. Because one of the reasons is because you can't sell. Or what you do is you're so focused on selling what you have that some people actually don't want to speak to you because the only thing they hear is all about you, and you don't go to find out about them. The art of sales is finding out about other people. The art of sales is more about them than it is about you. There's over 2,500 people in this room. My challenge to you is before the end of the day, meet a minimum of 30 people you don't know. Go find out about them. Don't tell them what you do, just go find out about them. Find out what they do. And importantly, what you want to find out. Is, do they have any problems? Do they have any problems? Is there anyone in this room that does not have a problem in their life right now? How many of you have too many problems? You see, the art of sales comes from solving problems. There's a great sales book that's by a guy called Frank Bettcher called How I Lifted My Life from Failure to Success. Anyone ever read it? If you want to read an incredible sales book, go read that. And what Frank Bettcher says is, he says, the art of creating success, the art of making a lot of money, is just finding a lot of people with a lot of problems whose problems you can solve. And if you help people get what they want, they will help you get what you want. One of the problems we have in this world is most people are only focused on getting what I want. If I get what I want, then maybe I'll help you. If I get what I want, then maybe I'll help you. If you give me money first, then I'll do what I can do for you. See, I was chatting to someone the other day, he says, I'm struggling with income. I said, asked him what he does. He says, I have a little construction business. So I said, how many doors have you knocked on? He says, well, yeah, I send out email. I go, do me a favor, why don't you spend a week while you're waiting for business to come in, just go knock on doors. Just go and say, do you have any maintenance stuff in your office that I can fix? Do you have any I said, if you speak to enough people and you ask them if they have problems, what problems do they have around maintenance building, you'll find someone who'll say, hey, I'm just looking for someone like you, why don't you come in? And I said, you know what you actually do is you don't charge the guy, you go in and you uncover what the problems are for free. And you say, look, right now I'm looking for business, but I'm prepared to help out and see what I can do. Look, how many of you run your own office in here? How many of you have your own office or you have a place that you operate from every day? Yes? If somebody rocked up on your door and said, hey, look, I'm looking for work, but I don't really want you to pay me, but I'm prepared to come in and do some cleaning for free for one day a week, how many of you would be interested in that service? See, most people are not prepared to go out and serve first. Now what happens is you get to open the door, you go out and you serve, and someone goes, hey, I like that guy's attitude. You've been coming around here. I tell you what, I've got some work that you can do for me. Now you start generating income. And in that simple system, that's sales. So one of the first skills in sales is, can you serve? Can you go out, find someone's problem, can you help them solve their problem? Once you can find problems, you're going to monetize that problem. The five-step solution to sales. The first step is you've got to find a. First step is you've got to find a problem. The second step, when you find the problem, is you have to have a what? You have to have a solution. So you've got to be able to find the problem, you've got to be able to link to the client's problem, and then you've got to be able to have a solution that solves the client's problem. Okay? How many of you have solutions that solve your client's problems? Okay, good. How many of you are not finding enough problems with your clients? So there's a key. So a lot of you know what your product does and what problem it solves and what solution it does, but how many of you are actually struggling to make enough sales? There's a core reason for that. And it's this. Because with the problem and the solution comes a benefit. What is the benefit? But it's not your benefit. It's the client's benefit. So what I see too many salespeople doing is telling the client, but if you come to my sales course, this is why it will be good for you. Without me once asking, If you could increase your sales in your business by 30%, what would that do for you?
You're out the water.
What does that mean?
More income, more staff, more jobs, more possibilities.
More income, more stock. Give me one key thing you'd like to do if you could increase your business by 30% in the next 6 months. What would it mean? You create more jobs. And if you create more jobs, what would it mean? Do you have a passion for helping people and creating jobs, growing your business? Great. What would it mean to you if you could grow your business by 30%?
Employ more.
You'd employ more people. What would happen if you could grow your business by 30%? Okay, good. What about something? Anyone have another benefit? So employ more people, grow your business. How many of you actually just want some free time? Okay, some free time. Just stop working so hard. Have some free time. Okay, good. How many of you would actually like to take a holiday with your family this year? Okay, good. So what are you seeing with a group of different people? There's different what? There's different needs, there's different benefits, but if you're not getting in their world, finding out what the benefit is, you're not connecting with them. That make sense? So it's problem, solution, benefit. Once you have the benefit, then you've got to be clear on what the offer is. One of the mistakes I see with many entrepreneurs, with many people are selling, is that's where they stop. They're not clear on the offer. I had it the other day. We're building a training venue, and I phoned to get a quote, and I said to the woman, look, just give me a ballpark figure. No, I can't. I'll send you an email. I said, just give me a ballpark figure. How much is it going to cost for 100 chairs? No. But our system says this. Gone. Too slow. Too slow. I'm looking for next. So a lot of times people don't know the offer. They're too scared to make the offer. Make the offer. When you make the offer, the last thing that you have to do is you have to close. How many would like to learn how to really close? Yeah, how many struggle with closing a bit? Okay. If you learn how to connect with people really well, closing comes easy. Most people that are desperate to sell close too hard, and closing becomes hard. But there's a process. So this is what happens with a lot of people, is they go out and they're speaking to people. Look, how many of you are doing a lot of work speaking to a lot of people? How many of you are doing a lot of work speaking to a lot of people? Yes? What are the rest of you doing? No work. Waiting for people to come to you. So we go now, we do a lot of work speaking to the wrong people, but how many of you are not getting the results you want because you're speaking to often a lot of the wrong people? Yes, doing the work but not getting the results. Okay, this is the other thing that happens. You might be speaking to the right people, but you go out and you actually start telling them. You tell them why they need to work with you. I watch people present. They're given an opportunity. They walk in, they stand in front of a boardroom. Someone in the boardroom says, okay, what have you come here to sell? And they spend half an hour with a beautiful PowerPoint presentation, vomiting all over the client about how good they are, what the product is, how long they've been in business. When they get to the end of the presentation, the client says, well, most clients are not actually polite enough to say no. They say, I tell you what, we'll think about it. We'll discuss it in our next. How many of you are waiting for 12 months for them to have their next flipping meeting? Send us that. And see, that's what happens is we end up telling all about ourselves. And during our presentation, we tell about the problem the client has and why we're so good, because we have the greatest solution. And then we tell the client that if you work with me, it'll be a big benefit. And then hopefully we can tell the client what the client needs, the offer, and what happens is we don't close. How many of you know what I'm talking about? How many of you want to be able to stop that happening every time you sell? As long as, look, part of the sales funnel is you've got to be speaking to the right people up front. But some of you are speaking to the right people, which is just not closing them. Because you're spending too much time telling. The art of sales is not the art of telling. The art of sales is the art of asking questions. Now, asking questions sounds easy, but everyone in this room went to school, yes? How many of you like me? You went to school for the shortest possible time. So I just worked out it's about 12 years if you do it for the shortest possible time. But in 12 years, you've been taught to do what? Well, let me ask you this. How did you pass school?
Knowing the answer.
Knowing the answers. So how you pass school is you told the teacher what the teacher told you, and if you told the teacher correctly, you passed. So you have been conditioned your whole life to tell people. When they ask a question, you have to tell them the right answer, and if you tell them the right answer, you appear smart and you appear success. For a minimum of 12 years, if you went to school, you spent your life telling. So when you go into a sales pitch and someone asks you a question, it opens up the door and you spend the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes telling. And you think, man. The reason people struggle with sales is because they don't spend enough time learning the basic fundamentals, like how to ask questions. So you'll get the information, I need to learn how to ask questions. But if you don't actually practice it, process it, make it who you are, then you just default to your worst habit, which is telling. So if you want to get good at this is pretty simple. It goes, ask. Ask. What about the benefit? Ask. The offer. You know the offer. This is the other thing I see with people is they ask people what they would be prepared to pay for what they have. You know what your product is worth. You know what you sell it for. You tell. So you ask. So, for example, if you could increase your sales by 30%, what I heard is you'd be able to employ a lot more people, yes? So if you could employ a lot more people, you could go after bigger deals. If you could go after bigger deals, what would happen? So it'll free up some of your time to do what you're skilled to do. How would that make you feel? Make you feel great. Just great. Extraordinary. When last did you have that extraordinary feeling in your life? Been a while. So let me ask you this. If you could invest 10,000 in a 2-day program, you could spend 10,000 in a 2-day program to learn how to increase your sales by 20, 30, 40% in the next 6 to 12 months, would that be a worthwhile investment? That makes sense? And your words were? Done. If you get good at this, they ask. How many of you would rather have your clients that are asking you for your product than you having to ask them? How many of your time are being desperate? The art of sales is the art of earning income. The better you sell, the better you earn. The better you earn, the better you live. If you want to build a business, you have to be able to sell. Kiyosaki says this: if you cannot sell, you cannot have a business. If you want to build a big business, you have to have a team who can sell. If they cannot sell, you cannot have a big business. It's pretty simple. So my question to you is, what are you going to do to master the art of sales? To absolutely master the art of sales. It is a learned skill. It's not a skill you're born with. You're born with the skill or a talent to communicate, for example. But I know many talented communicators that can't sell their way out of a paper bag because they talk too much and don't listen enough. They spend too much time in their own world, making it all about them, not in the client's world. If you get really good at sales, the client will tell you what they want. When the client tells you what they want, you can go and find the solutions. When you find the solutions to their problem, you'll make a lot of money. The art of sales is very simple, but it's not easy because it's played up here more than anything else. And there's 2 core fundamentals to selling. One is how you play it in your mind and the sale to you, and the other is how you play it to clients and the process and the system that you follow in order to get it done. The process and the system is very simple. How many of you can understand these 5 points? How many of you can understand these 5 points? You learn how to do these 5 points, but the one thing will hold you back is this. We call it little voice. Robin calls it mind power. But when you learn how to shift this, so that when you've got to pick up the phone, you can follow this. When you learn how to shift this, so you can knock on doors, you can follow this. You can teach yourself skill. You can teach yourself mindset. But if you have all the skill in the world and your mindset's not right, the skill's useless. Does that make sense? So how do you think learning to sell would be beneficial to your business and your life? How many think teaching a team to sell would be beneficial to your business and your life? Remember this: sales equals income, income equals life. And sales is the lifeblood of your business. If there's not enough blood flowing through the business, it dies. You want blood to flow in your business, you have to be able to sell. Does that make sense? Yes. Make sense? Yes. Turn to the person next to you, say, maybe sales is a good idea. So remember this, sales equals? Sales equals? Up on your feet, please. When I say sales, you're going to say? When I say sales, you're going to say income. Income equals? Sales. 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 Turn to the person next to you, say make more income. So folks, have an awesome rest of your day. You're in for an incredible process. You've got some amazing teachers coming up. I know that Robin is going to share some amazing things with you about mind power. Those of you that are really interested in learning how to master sales,